Gee, the next episode of UUCC Zoom In Live is tomorrow with Melissa Vandergriff. I should say something about her during today's service. But what? There's just so much to share. That she's originally from Texas? Or maybe that she's an executive of one of the big healthcare systems in town. Or maybe that she's an executive with one of the big healthcare systems in town. That she started and sings in an amazing chamber choir. Or that she's been an incredible leader of our congregation, both UUCC and the society before it. Well, whatever. She's had a really amazing life. Really interesting. She's got some great stories to tell, and people are going to want to hear them. So, everybody, join me tomorrow, 8 to 9 p.m., UUCC Zoom In Live, with me, your host, David Cantor, and my special guest, Melissa Vandergriff. Be joined by my co-host, Will Barrett, and of course we'll have the Jack Olin Comedy Moment. You'll get your link to the show via email this evening from Zoom In Live. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. See you then. Bye now.
Of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland here. Today is a special Sunday where the Coming of Age class hosts the service. Our service today is quite different than any of us imagined a year ago when we started our journey in the Coming of Age program. Still, it is reflective of who we are despite all the changes to our lives and our families' lives due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For those of you who are new to this morning, let me take a moment to tell you about our congregation. We are a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we are a non-creedal community. That means that we do not require anyone to subscribe to a specific set of beliefs to be a member of the congregation. Instead, we live by a covenant that encourages ethical behavior, affirms democracy, celebrates the worth of each individual, and unites us in a search for the truth and meaning. We find inspiration from a broad spectrum of Christians, including Christianity, humanism, earth-centered spirituality, Eastern religion, direct experience, and much more. We are a welcoming congregation which affirms all persons to choose to participate in the life or activities of our community, regardless of color, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, or economic status.
And now for a call to worship. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. We will be proceeding on to our chalice lighting. Please read these words from unison from the insert of your order of service. I'll give you all a moment to open that up. May the single flame we now kindle remind us how we are one, that the struggles and wounds of each of us impact us all. We grow together, we fail together, we move forward on the path only by walking side by side. By giving ourselves to the greater whole, we find ourselves again. May this morning help us take another step along our way.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment in our service to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. We hold all of those unvoiced joys and cares that are on our hearts and minds this morning.
We could be the healing when you're feeling all alone. We could be the reason to find the strength to carry on. In a world that's so divided, we shall overcome. We could be the healing. We could be the flower in the gun. We could be the healing. We can be the flower in the gun.
What could I say to my son or to my daughter if they came and asked me about these days? What kind of reason could I give for all the hate that's standing in the way? Wish I could tell them that nobody's gonna judge them, and every stranger on the block is gonna love them. No bully in the world could ever hurt them, but I can't say that today. No one could ever take your pride from you. Speak your truth and let your spirit fly. 'Cause we could be the healing when you're feeling all alone. We could be the reason to find the strength to carry on. In a world that's so divided, we shall overcome. We could be the healing. We could be the flower in the gun. We could be the healing. We could be the flower in the gun.
What could I say to every woman who has ever been told by a man don't try to reach too high? What could I say to every girl who was betrayed and told to keep the pain locked inside? Wish I could say nobody's ever gonna judge me. Every stranger on the block is gonna love me. No bully in the world is gonna hurt me, but I can't say that today. No, no, no one could ever take my pride from me. Speak my truth and let my spirit fly. 'Cause we could be the healing when you're feeling all alone. We could be the reason, yeah, to find the strength to carry on. In a world that's so divided, we shall overcome. We could be the healing. We could be the flower in the gun. We could be the healing. We could be the flower in the gun.
It's like dropping pebbles into the ocean, seeing them spread ripples around the world like, whoa, whoa,
Whoa,
yeah,
yeah,
whoa, whoa,
whoa,
yeah. Everybody sing, whoa, whoa,
whoa,
yeah,
yeah,
whoa, whoa,
whoa, yeah. We could be the healing when you're feeling all alone. We could be the reason, yeah, to find the strength to carry on. In a world that's so divided, we shall overcome. We can be the healing.
Today's reading comes from Harry Potter, book series by J.K. Rowling. There were once 3 brothers who were traveling along a lonely winding road at twilight. In time, the brothers reached a river too treacherous to pass, but they were learned in the magical arts. The 3 brothers simply waved their wands and made a bridge. Before they could cross, however, they found their path blocked by a hooded figure. It was Death, and he felt cheated. Cheated because travelers would always drown in the river. But Death was cunning. He pretended to congratulate the 3 brothers on their magic, and said that each had earned a prize for having been clever enough to evade him. The oldest asked for a wand, more powerful than any in existence. So, Death fashioned him a wand from an elder's tree that stood nearby. The second brother decided he wanted to humiliate Death even further and asked for the power to recall loved ones from the grave. So, Death plucked a stone from the river and offered it to him. Finally, Death turned to the third brother, a humble man. He asked for something that would allow him to go forth from this place without being followed by Death. And so, it was that Death reluctantly handed over his own cloak of invisibility. The first brother traveled to a distant village. While with the elder wand in hand, he killed a wizard with whom he had once quarreled. Drunk with the power that the elder wand had given him, he bragged of his invincibility. But that night, another wizard stole the wand and slit the first brother's throat for good measure. And so, Death took the first brother for his own. The second brother journeyed to his home, where he took the stone and turned it thrice in hand. To his delight, the girl he had once hoped to marry before her untimely death appeared before him. Yet soon she turned sad and cold, for she did not belong in the mortal world. Driven mad with the hopeless longing, the second brother killed himself so as to join her. And so, Death took the second brother. As for the third brother, Death searched for many years, but was never able to find him. Only when he had attained a great age did the youngest brother shed the cloak of invisibility and give it to his son. He then greeted Death as an old friend and went with him gladly, departing this life as equals.
Please join me in this responsive reading, number 657 in the Great Hymnal. Your words will be in italics on the screen. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with the fears of unknown calamities. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world.
Hi, I'm Ava Stenger. I wrote a song called Spiders about my struggles with OCD, and I'm gonna sing. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Ava Stenger. I'm 15 years old and I go to Shaker Heights High School and I'm in 9th grade. I've been going to this church for 4 years now and I've really connected to it. I started coming here because Maggie's family recommended it to mine, and the last church my family and I went to, which was a long time ago, wasn't a good fit. I also wasn't very connected with being a Christian. My parents are Gene Simmons and Edward Stenger, and my brother is Zach Stenger. What I value most is love, because no matter who you are, in a way you thrive for it. Every person is loved no matter what. No person can just be good or just be evil. Everybody has a mix of it. Most people say that there is at least one perfect human in the world, but they do not exist. I believe that there might be a higher power, but who knows? I would describe a higher power as some sort of being. Not specifically a human, but a spirit. Somebody who's got some darkness and light in them, who's not perfect. After all, no human is either. What my beliefs are after people die, it's comforting to say that they'll go to heaven, but when I really think about it, it seems impossible to go to such a place. For me, it seems like death can be a very exciting thing. To be honest, there might not be a heaven or hell to go to. We could all just disappear from the world or reincarnate. It's scary for most to think that we could just randomly go away from the world in one point in time. But the feeling of not knowing what is to come can be a thrilling thing. I sometimes feel like death is going to be like when we fall asleep. We are awake for 1 minute and not the next, where we go into a dream. In my opinion, being a Unitarian Universalist is a very hard thing to explain. First off, because we all believe different things, or mostly at least, so there's infinite answers. In our church, we have all different types of beliefs, which I really admire. Out of the 7 principles, I connect mostly with the third one, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Why I connect most with the third one is because I believe that not everyone has to believe in the same things, but we can all accept and admire others' beliefs. In the future, I want to be the kind of person who shares their emotions with the world to make issues like bullying, stereotypes, equality, and depression more known in life. There's no purpose in life besides doing what you want because it's your choice. My next steps towards the future is sharing how I feel. Thank you, audience, for listening, and thank you to my mentor, Rochelle, and my mom and dad. The morning's offering will benefit Frontline Service, a nonprofit organization that provides behavior, mental health, and supportive services for more than 23,000 adults and children in Cuyahoga County each year. A significant portion of the services supports the county's homeless population. Frontline is a suicide prevention hotline for Cleveland. Frontline is aligned with the National Suicide Prevention Service. It also addresses people with homeless issues and overcoming trauma. Instructions for how to donate are shown on the screen. Please give generously within your means.
Hello everyone, my name is Margaret Love. I am 14 years old and a 9th grader at Shaker Heights High School. My parents are Tony and Natalie Love, And I have an older sister, Katie, who is currently attending Chatham University in Pittsburgh. I have been going to this church ever since I was born, roughly 13 to 14 years. My mom brought me as a baby, and I've always enjoyed it enough to come. I love the warm and fuzzy feeling you get when you're in the building. I love all my friends I've made during my time here. And I especially love how I get to choose my own spiritual path and how I'm able to explore what I truly believe in. After this lovely introduction, I'd like to first start off with my values. I value trust and health the most, followed by a few other things. Trust, in my opinion, is the most important thing when it comes to any relationship, whether it's friendship, dating, marriage, or even just neighbors. I value health, both physically and mentally, especially in these rough times where they matter the most. Health is always an important process when going through any sort of journey. As much as I believe in and value trust and health, I'd also like to proceed on to deeper beliefs. Like a lot of people, I believe in a God or sort of divine being who is the one responsible for creating everything. As much as I also believe in the Big Bang Theory, I have to question what created the Big Bang. If you ask me what I think this God looks like, I have to be honest, I don't know. If I have to choose, I think of it as one of those biblically accurate angels that you can look up on the internet. But they all take all sorts of different forms. What is this God's purpose? What have they really done? Are they looking over us? And where is this higher power now? I'm still wondering. Not all of my beliefs are about a divine being and such. I also believe in a few opinions about people and ordinary life. Personally, I don't pay attention to the belief of good or bad people. If I may, I like to explain that I think of everyone as a normal person who just simply does good or bad or neutral things in their life. I also like to think of smaller, silly, typical Gen Z thoughts, such as birds are spies for the government. It's funny to think about, but it's possible. My next steps on my spiritual journey is self-care and making sure I'm comfortable and happy with myself. This includes working out, eating better, getting good sleep, and finding overall happiness in ordinary things. That way I'll be able to have the confidence, strength, and energy to do as many more things that I may need to. At this point, I think I've covered everything I wish to talk about. I would like to thank my parents and sister for all the help that I got at home. I would like to thank my mentor, Marianne Hall, and all the other coming-of-age adults for all their help and support throughout my journey, but especially Marianne for all the tea she made me when I came over. I would like to thank all my extended family for their love and support that they have given me. Finally, thank you all for listening to what I had to say.
Hello, my name is Nico Ustin. I'm a freshman at the Mastery School of Hawken. I've been going to the UUCC for 9 years. My father is Jeffrey Ustin and my mother is Pauline Teraboo. I have two sisters, Anya and Ella. We originally came to this church as a middle point between my mother's Christian upbringing and my father's Jewish upbringing. I value the ability to not regret, to release the heavy weights of the past. Those who can set goals for the future, remember the past, and stay present all at once are sacred to me. I value social action and questioning the norm. I value my friends and family most for their support, love, and grounding qualities. Additionally, I value people who act upon their moral and ethical code, even when it's the hard choice. I don't believe in the classic, straightforward God. However, I do believe in something larger. I'm not quite sure yet how this bigger thing takes form. I think the purpose of a higher power was created for more practical uses. Like the universe's want to have a balance of energy, higher powers were created to bring a balance to our understanding. It doused our parched throats with the water of understanding, like a filler for what we don't know. Over time, I think this purpose has evolved to a more noble cause, to humble, to feel like you're part of something bigger. I do not think that people are just good or evil. Contrary to the running good and bad point tally model portrayed in the TV series The Good Place, I believe that no one is fully defined or confined by their good or bad actions. We all in some way, intentionally or not, have done a good or bad thing. Social activist Brian Stevenson says that each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done. It would be naive to think that a person is purely one way or the other. Good and evil actions don't cancel each other out, but they rather coexist, giving people more depth and complexity. I would love to truly believe in an afterlife, but I can't. Whenever the topic comes up, the overly logical part of my brain takes over. In the future, I need to come to terms with the belief system that I currently identify with, which I think will ironically bring a peace. Some may say that believing that death is the end would be sad and daunting, but I look at it differently. This understanding allows me to know roughly how much time I have to fit everything in. It makes it so that every decision is important because of my limited time on Earth. At every fork in the road, it pushes me to take the path with the most happiness, fulfillment, and service. The inevitability of death doesn't take away, it adds. Instead of living a fear-ridden life, I lead one full of exciting adventures. I find many of our worship rituals meaningful, including music, conversation, time for all ages, and more. To me, what is most important about Unitarian Universalism is not the specific traditions, but rather the overarching concepts. These are inclusion, justice, empathy, liberty, and respect. What's special and unique about Unitarian Universalism is that we don't just say that these are our values and walk away looking good. We live the principles every day. The next steps on my life journey are to think about other unanswered questions, allow what I've discovered to guide me through other aspects of my life, and to share my knowledge and perspective with others. I want to start thinking about simpler questions in deeper senses. It's easy to come to a deep understanding of something that's inherently fruitful and full of wisdom, but it's rather hard to come to a realization about something that's shallow on the surface and lacks immediate sophistication. So, I've done the easy part thus far. Thank you to my parents for their amazing support. Thank you to my mentor, David Cantor, and thank you all for listening.
Today's reading is from Born a Criminal by Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah had 2 dogs growing up, Foofy and Panther. One day, while he was home from school, he discovered that one of them, Foofy, would leave the yard during the day. Trevor Noah tells that story in this excerpt. I couldn't believe this was happening. I ran out front, grabbed my bicycle, and followed her to see where she was going. She went a long way away, many streets over, to another part of the neighborhood. Then she went up to this other house and jumped over their wall into their backyard. What in the world was she doing? I went up to the gate and rang the doorbell. This colored kid answered. May I help you? He said. Yeah, my dog is in your yard. What? My dog. She's in your yard. Foofy walked up and stood between us. Foofy, come, I said. Let's go. This kid looked at Foofy and called her by some other name. Spotty, go back inside the house. Whoa, I said. Spotty? That's Foofy. No, that's my dog, Spotty. No, that's Foofy, my friend. No, this is Spotty. How could this be Spotty? She doesn't even have spots. You don't know what you're talking about. This is Spotty, Foofy, Spotty, Foofy. Of course, since Foofy was deaf, she didn't respond to Spotty or Foofy. She just stood there. I started yelling at the kid. Give me back my dog. I don't know who you are, he said, but you better get out of here. Then he went into the house and got his mom and she came out. What do you want? She said. That's my dog. This is our dog. Go away. I started crying. Why are you stealing my dog? I turned to Foofy and begged her. Foofy, why are you doing this to me? Why, Foofy, why? I called to her. I begged her to come. Foofy was deaf to my pleas, and everything else. I jumped on my bike and raced home, tears running down my face. I loved Foofy so much. To see her with another boy acting like she didn't know me after I raised her after all the nights we spent together, I was heartbroken. That evening, Foofy didn't come home. Because the other family thought I was coming to steal their dog, they had decided to lock her inside so she couldn't make it back the way she normally did to wait for us outside the fence. My mom got home from work. I was in tears. I told her Foofy had been kidnapped. We went back to the house. My mom rang the bell and confronted the mom. Look, this is our dog. This lady lied to my mom's face. This is not your dog. We bought this dog. You didn't buy the dog. It's our dog. They went back and forth. This woman wasn't budging, so we went home to get evidence. Pictures of us with the dog, certificates from the vet. I was crying the whole time, and my mom was losing her patience with me. "Stop crying, we'll get the dog, calm down." We gathered up our documentation and went back to the house. This time, we brought Panther with us as part of the proof. My mom showed the lady the pictures and the information from the vet. She still wouldn't give us Foofy. My mom threatened to call the police. It turned into a whole thing. Finally, my mom said, "Okay, I'll give you 100 Rand." "Fine," the lady said. My mom gave her some money and she brought Foofy out. The other kid, who thought Foofy was Spotty, had to watch his mother sell the dog he thought was his. Now he started crying. "Spotty? No, Mom, you can't sell Spotty." I didn't care. I just wanted Foofy back. Once Foofy saw Panther, she came right away. The dogs left with us and we walked. I sobbed the whole way home, still heartbroken. My mom had no time for my whining. "Why are you crying?" "Because Foofy loves another boy." "So? Why would that hurt you? It didn't cost you anything. Foofy's here. She's still your dog. She still loves you. So get over it." Foofy was my first heartbreak. No one has ever betrayed me more than Foofy. It was a valuable lesson. The hard thing was understanding that Foofy wasn't cheating on me with another boy. She was merely living her life to the fullest. Until I knew that she was going out on her own during the day, her other relationship hadn't affected me at all. Foofy had no malicious intent. I believed that Foofy was my dog, but of course that wasn't true. Foofy was a dog, I was a boy. We got along well, she happened to live in my house. That experience shaped what I've felt about relationships ever since. You do not own the thing that you love.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Hi, my name is Sophie Tascone. I'm 14 and in 9th grade at Cleveland Heights High School. My parents are Kirsten Parkinson and Frank Tascone, and we've been coming here since I was about 7. My dad grew up in a pretty strict religion, and so one of the main reasons we started coming here was to give me the opportunity to form my own religious beliefs, but also have a good religious education. This was originally written in March or April. Since then, our world has changed very drastically, and I've changed with it. Originally, I said that I value things such as honesty, humor, kindness, and empathy. I still do, however, above all else, I value imagination, acceptance, and the ability to admit wrongs. Additionally, the most important people to me are my family and close friends. I know they'll let me know when I'm in the wrong, but always be there to help me grow and improve as a person. Honestly, I don't know if I believe in a higher power. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I mostly turn to one only when I need a sense of stability, but either way, I don't like the idea of someone or something controlling or influencing my actions and decisions. I also don't think that anyone is solely good or evil. We all have moments, and we all have both good and evil characteristics. And none of us choose which we get, we only choose how we react. Traits such as these are taught and learned. Along with that, I don't know what happens when we die, and I really don't want to think about it either. The fact that we don't know scares me. But if anything, I'd like it to be similar to the way it is in Season 4 of The Good Place. I don't know where my life will take me, and to be completely honest, I don't really want to. But I know I don't want to be great. I don't want some mass amount of social media followers. I don't want to have my name in news headlines or a trending hashtag on Twitter. I don't want some kid to see my picture in a history book or write an essay about me in 40 years. I want to make mistakes and learn from them, and I'd rather remember than be remembered. Thank you for taking the time today to listen to this. Thank you to everyone up here for listening to me sing Baby Shark way too many times. Thank you to my family and to my mentor, Kathleen.
Hello, my name is Brian Angyal, and I am 15 years old. I go to Independence High School. I've been coming here for as long as I can remember. I have my mom and dad, who are Kathleen and Eric Angyal. I also have my sister, Rebecca. What I value the most is loyalty, honesty, wanting to make the world a better place, and caring for the environment. I believe these will make the world we live in a better place. I believe they will make the world a better place because it will help keep the earth clean, and loyalty and honesty are core values of a good person. Who I value the most is my friends, the government, the world, and my family. I value these the most because I believe these are the most important things in my life. I believe that there is a God/higher power/being, and I believe this power is God. I believe that no one is purely good or evil. I think that people are born good and can become evil. I also believe that good people are not always good, and bad people are not always bad. I think that when you die, you go to heaven or hell. I'm not really sure what happens if you don't go to one or the other. I find spiritual practice as something that people do to induce spiritual experiences and cultivate spiritual development. Some things I do that I define as spiritual practices is meditating and also breathing exercises. When I grow up, I want to be a kind person who gets a well-paying job and has lots of friends. Something that I want to be when I grow up is a computer programmer. I would like to thank everybody for listening to my speech today. I would also like to thank my parents for always being there and helping me whenever I need help. I would also like to thank my mentor, John Bacon. Thank you all for listening.
Good morning. My name is Jenna Bradbourne, and Rebecca Engel and I are very honored to be the representatives for the senior high class for this service. Congratulations, y'all. Coming of age is never an easy journey, and the additional difficulties you face due to COVID, I'm sure made it that much harder. So your perseverance in continuing to discover your truths is admirable. I hope through this you learned so much about what you believe, who you are, who you want to become, and just, who you are in this moment. You are all so amazing, and I'm extremely excited to officially welcome you into the senior high class. I'll be giving each of you a chalice necklace as a welcoming gift, and I hope it also serves as a reminder for how far you've come. Congratulations again.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old and older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like the breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads.
All my memories gather round her. Waters the deep, stranger to the water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste the moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. I hear her voice in the morning as she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads, take me home, country roads, take me home, take me home, country roads.
May we leave this place, seeking an uncharted and freely chosen way to wholeness, knowing we will have companions along the way.